Today, I would like to talk to you about reward systems in the classroom. Like many of you, I have used a variety of reward systems over the years. I've used the sticker chart system, where I've displayed the children's names at the front of the classroom, and children would come out and put a star next to their name every time they were recognized for their achievements. I've even used the pebble jar system in my class, where every time a group does something really well, they receive a pebble to put in their jar. And then at the end of the week, we would count the pebbles in each team's jar and then reward the team with the most pebbles. I've even seen other teachers use a sun and cloud system, where pegs are put on either the rainbow, the sun, or the cloud, depending on the level of behavior. And I'm sure you are also all familiar with the class dojo system, where children are given points for a variety of things. And children can see how many points they've got and also see how many points their friends have got. Now, reward systems have a variety of benefits. It encourages good behavior. Through a reward system, we can recognize the children's efforts. We can even give rewards based on their achievements. And it's a great way to motivate the children and to make sure that everyone is working hard. And it also creates healthy competition between the children, where children are eager to win by getting the most rewards. And at the end of getting the most rewards, they most probably win some sort of a prize. Now, what if schools had reward systems for teachers and other members of staff? Imagine having a reward system in the staff room. You could give out points or stickers or pebbles to the teachers who wash the dishes, or to those members of staff who not only wash their dishes but wash everyone else's. You could even give out stickers or pebbles to those members of staff who remember to clean out the fridge and throw all the out-of-date food away. What about a reward system to use during book scrutinies? You could give out again some sort of reward to the teachers who bring in books that are of a very high standard. What about a reward system to use during lesson observations, where you could then have a public display in school somewhere where teachers can then see how well they've done compared to their peers? A great way, I'm sure you'll agree, to raise staff morale. And my favorite reward system for staff would be to use during staff meetings. Imagine giving out dojo points for the members of staff who are sat beautifully listening to you while you're running the staff meeting, or dojo points to those members of staff who come to the staff meeting on time, or even dojo points to those members of staff who actually put their hand up and participate in the meetings. And finally, you could even have a reward system for teachers to do with school reports. You could even give out stickers or pebbles or dojo points to those staff who hand their reports on time. Or maybe you could even have a rainbow, sun, and cloud system for the teachers and the other members of staff. Now, as silly as that might sound, this is one reason why I've moved away from using a reward system in my classroom, because it's really got me thinking that if I wouldn't want a reward system to be used for me, then why should I use a reward system for children? Now, some of you may be listening to this and you might not agree with my decision to move away from a reward system to no reward system at all. And that's fine, because it is your choice. What I'm hoping to do is at least give you a different perspective and help you to think of a different alternative. So I'd like to share a quick story with you. Last summer, I went to a motivational speaking boot camp run by a famous person called Action Jackson. Now that was the best CPD I have ever been on. Now you might be thinking, why did I go to a motivational speaking boot camp? Now, as much as I'd like to come on TED Talks one day, my purpose for attending this motivational speaking boot camp was because I want to be a motivational speaker, not for the public, but for the children that I work with each and every day. And from this boot camp, I have learned many things, and most importantly, it helped me realize one thing. Jackson was able to motivate us adults who were fearful about public speaking, who were very low in confidence when it came to speaking up in front of a group of other strangers. And he was able to motivate us without actually giving us anything physical like a pebble or a sticker or even a dojo point. And that made me realize that all this time I'd been motivating my children through the wrong means. I'd been relying on a reward system rather than relying on myself. All these years I thought, yes, I was great at motivating the children because the behavior has always been brilliant and they've always worked hard for me. But after this boot camp, I realized that actually it was probably because of the rewards I was giving out and not because of me, the teacher. So I really want you to ask yourselves as well, why is it, if you do have a reward system, why do you have a reward system? Is the reward system that you're using at the moment, is it more for you or is it more for them? Have you got a reward system because it's actually not to motivate the children, but it's actually to manage behavior? So really think about why you've got a reward system and if it actually is truly achieving its purpose. Instead of having a reward system, I went to the other extreme this year, and it was my first year trying this out, which was to have no reward system. Now the class I got this year was very much used to using Class Dojo in the previous class. Now in September, when I started teaching my new class, I never gave out any dojo points whatsoever. And the amazing thing, and even to this day I still find it amazing, is that none of the children actually ever asked why I wasn't giving out any dojo points. And in fact, none of them to this day have even asked why I don't even give out any stickers. And I'd like to think the reason for that is because I have given them so much verbal praise over the months that they haven't even felt the need to be wanting to be rewarded with anything else. I cannot express the power of verbal praise. Now, there's a difference between well done and wow, Joe, that is a fantastic piece of work. I just can't believe how hard you've worked today, Joe. Thank you. The tone of voice in your praise can also have a huge impact on the children that you are teaching. Your body language can also have a huge impact. Get down to the children's eye level when you are praising them. Make sure you are looking at them and they are looking at you when you are praising them. Make sure the child can feel the connection with you when you are giving them any sort of verbal praise. As well as having no reward system, this year I made more of a conscious effort to make links with my parents. Now again, I'd like to think that over the years I had a good relationship with the parents. But this year, I made sure that I actually got out into the playground after school and actually made a conscious effort to speak to as many parents I could throughout the week. Now, the funniest thing, or the odd thing here, was when I first started out on this journey with the parents, the first couple of parents that I asked to have a word with, they had a look of shock on their face. And I still remember one parent saying, "What's he done today then?" And I thought, isn't that a great shame that as a teacher, when I approach a parent, they're automatically thinking that I'm going to tell them something negative about their child. So I had to work very hard on the culture with my parents that when I asked to speak to them, I didn't want them to think that actually I was going to talk to them about something negative. And I wanted them to feel confident knowing that every time I approached them in the playground, they didn't need to be invisible, that they could actually be visible to me because what they are going to hear from me is actually going to be positive. And even if the child has had a bad day, I was going to reframe my language and tell them in a positive way and still help the parent understand that even if the child has had a bad day, that 9 times out of 10 they actually do have good days. Now for me and my class, my use of no reward system has really been put to the test. Because I'm proud to say that by not having a reward system, I believe that has been the reason why the children in my class have all engaged with online learning. Now, where I work is not in an affluent area, and we have the same issues and challenges as any other school. But I'm confident enough to say that because my children were used to being verbally praised and not relying on dojo points or stickers or pebbles, that they've been able to work just as hard at home than they have been at school. I've had 100% engagement with online learning, and that was my main worry when the lockdown happened. How would I be able to motivate these year 2 children? And that's important to understand, that the children that I'm talking about are only 6 and 7-year olds. And how would I be able to motivate them when I'm not even going to be there physically? And I believe that is down to the fact that I have spent all those months prior to lockdown helping them to understand that they need to work hard for themselves, that they need to behave for themselves, that they need to take pride in their work. And unfortunately, I know of teachers and schools where online learning has not been a success because they're saying, well, the children are not motivated, or the children are not doing their work at home, or the children are not responding, or that the children have switched off and are in already summer holiday mode. And I think that is unfortunately because there's no reward for them. There's no sticker at the end of the work. There's no pebble at the end of the work. There's no carrot or stick. And that's why there's been low engagement. Now, some of you may disagree with me, and that's your choice. But I just want to help you see a different perspective and think of things in a different light. And if I've made you feel uncomfortable, then I'm glad, because that shows that you've reflected on your own practice and how you currently do things. And if you agree with what I've got to say, then I hope you'll help spread the word and spread the message. And finally, I'd like to end with this. I'd like to leave you with the word REMOTION. It's not a spelling mistake, it's actually a word that I've thought of. REMOTION, which includes relationships, emotions, and motivation. You see, with my class this year, I've replaced rewards with relationships. And I don't mean relationships in the sense that I know my children really well and I know what they like and I know what they don't like. I mean relationships in terms of I really know the children. I know when they're feeling down. I know their body language. I know their tone of voice. Emotions. I've replaced again my rewards system with emotions. I want my children to feel something within their heart, within their soul, when I speak to them. When I speak to the children in my class, I want them to feel on cloud 9. I want them to feel something where they go home and they really remember how I've made them feel for the good reasons. I want them to feel an emotional connection with me where they want to come back the next day and work even harder and try even harder and be even more motivated. REMOTION also includes motivation. As I said at the beginning, I attended a public speaking boot camp, and the main thing that I learned from there was how important it is to be able to motivate people, whether that's adults or children, and how important our voice, our body language, our tone of voice helps towards being able to motivate other people. That we don't actually have to give them something physical, we can give them something emotional, and that is what will live with them forever. Because I want that by the end of this year, when the children leave, that they will still remember me, not just in a year's time, but in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years' time, they'll remember me because of the emotional connection I had with them. So I hope you can use REMOTION in your teaching. You may still want to use your behavior or your reward system. You may not even have one, like myself. But either way, I'm sure we can all agree about the importance of relationships, emotions, and motivation. And that is what will help us get high levels of engagement, whether that be from learning at home or whether that be in the classroom. I wish you the best of luck. Remember, you are amazing. Thank you.